now that we've got our bodies in order, we want to get the wellness into the workplace. So we've got Arquella Hargrove to tell us more about how to do that. So you've been coaching and training for 20 years, helping people get their workplace and their mindsets well. So tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So my business is Alchemy Consulting Group, and so we partner with organizations to help transform their workplace cultures so leaders are more effective and efficient, and where their employees feel like they can thrive and be better, right, for the workplace and for the work that's being done.
What is the challenge with leaders to prioritize that wellness in the workplace?
I think a lot of times what we see is that one is stress levels are really high, and definitely leaders, and I talked to a client yesterday that works in the evening, works on the weekends, and sometimes again they're not balancing, so their teams are not seeing that. And so we're seeing a lot of stress levels increase and mental health issues increase as well. And so really, how can that leader be that example to their employees, right, where they're able to see a good example of what it means to really have that balance in work?
Yeah, because if they are all over the place, how can they expect their others to
Exactly.
have it together? Okay, so let's get it together. What are some things that we could do to make sure that we have a healthy workplace?
Yeah, a couple of things to think about for leaders to think about is one is really just tapping into your employees and making sure that your employees are able to be heard and that they're able to share kind of what they're experiencing. A lot of times we're seeing employers now offer mental health days to their employees, so offering that flexibility is going to be key. And there are studies that shows that when employees feel heard, when employees feel that their leaders are listening, that their productivity levels will increase. And so that's one thing, is really just tapping into and leaning into your employees and learning from them more.
If they have one of those difficult bosses, we've all had them at some point, how do you recommend they handle that? Is it, keeping a paper trail, like I keep asking for balance but not getting it, or any other suggestions?
Yeah, a couple things. One is just like I tell leaders to keep documentation. I tell employees to document, and when you've made these requests to your leaders, making sure it's documented, working with HR, human resources as well, to let them know what's going on and seeing if they can get support from there as well.
Okay. All right. Anything else that leaders can do, or the good bosses can do, to try to create that balance for their employees?
Yeah, another thing too is just really having that professional development opportunity. So making sure that employees are having the outlets where they can continue learning and growing. That's going to help with productivity levels, motivational levels as well. And so that's another option for sure.
What is it about the growth mindset that allows for that wellness in the workplace?
Yeah, people are thinking more like, when they have the growth mindset, that they're more optimistic, that they're able to function at a higher level, right? They have the support, they can do it. And so when they have that positive mindset, again, research tells us, again, that they're going to flourish, right? Yeah, definitely.
All right. See, I think of, when I think of, for whatever reason, I think of greenery, I think of windows, things like that in a workplace. Are those things that will also attribute to like a better environment?
Oh, absolutely. So again, it's having an ergonomic chair, or it's, having an area where people can go and just be, right? And so we have some of our clients where they have these spaces where employees can go and sit on the beanbag, and they can go and do a puzzle or whatever. So again, making those spaces where employees feel like, hey, right, I can go and just take a mental break from all the work, because we spend more of our time in the workplace. So the more we're able to create these spaces where people feel at home, if you will, but also just an outlet, we find that helps too with, again, their productivity increasing, and again, they're being more motivated, more excited to be within this workplace. So yeah, definitely having a fun environment, right, as much as you can.
Okay, all right, I love a beanbag. I'm going to note to the producer, go ahead and throw some of those on set, okay? Anything
whatever
else?
works.
Yeah, whatever works. It's a good time.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything else that we could add?
Yeah, I would just say just continuing to, for leaders and employees, just to keep that open dialogue is really critical, right? It's just to continue to keep talking through whatever's happening and to work through what are the options, and giving each other options or recommendations. So for me, it's just keeping the lines of communication open.
How do you recommend starting that conversation? It might be awkward, especially for a new employee, to come in and say, you know what, this place could use some beanbags. How do you recommend starting that?
Yeah, I think again, just meeting people where they are, and just, for a new employee coming in, it may be, you know what, I'm here for 30 days and here's what I'm noticing, and would like to find out if if I can have a different chair, or a standing desk, right, to help me with my health issues that might be going on. Is that something that I can request?
A lot of people nowadays will say there's no such thing as work-life balance. What is your response to that?
Yeah, may say work-life harmony.
Yeah, harmony. That's the new term.
Right? It's trying to find balance, because again, life is going to life and work is going to work. And so how do you get to the happy medium? But again, it's based on just not overdoing it. And so it's really, for me, I always tell people I live by the calendar, and so making sure, hey, right, I'm trying to work within these hours and being an example, right, to my own team, but definitely trying to balance it out with family and work and all, and not to overdo it, because again, if we overdo it, right, we're no good to anyone. You have to say, this is non-negotiable. This is on my calendar. I'm going to have dinner with my family, and really kind of set some boundaries there for yourself, right, and for your team as well.
Yes, if you take nothing else away from this, set some boundaries. So, right.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for coming in and making sure that our workplace is just right, not making us too crazy. All right, so coming up after this break, we'll have our final takeaways.